Ever since 2013, I have been teaching, and maybe more than I should, um, but it's something I strongly believe in, and I think it's proven itself over and over. About the feast of the Lord, the seven feasts of the Lord. These are shadows of things to come. They are a like a dress rehearsal that God gave to the Israelites, the Jewish people. Now, they're not Jewish feasts, they are the Lord's feast, and there's a purpose for this. Just as when Abraham took Isaac to Moriah to sacrifice him, it was a vision of things to come for God giving his son as a sacrifice for us. God is an orderly God. He does everything in order, and he leaves nothing undone. Out of these seven feasts, four of them have already been fulfilled, and the three fall feasts that are coming up starting the 2nd of October are the fall feast, and these are the three left to be fulfilled. Now let's talk about some other things real quick. I'm going to show you a couple of videos, and then at the end of these videos I may actually come back on. But these videos are important, of what's going on right now. Don't look at Matt DiDio as some kind of conspiracy theorist. He's not. He's a born-again, blood-bought believer who loves the Lord, and he has a fantastic following, a great podcast, a great internet what do you call it? Anyway, he has his own website, and he has a lot of people that we know as followers of Christ on his show occasionally. So listen to what he has to say. It is exactly what I've been saying, but he has a lot bigger venue than me. I mean, I've got TikTok and YouTube and excuse me, and X and other places that I put my videos on, and I have people. I mean, I've had 300, 400, 500 people have been viewed my videos. I've had as many as 1,000 people probably that have looked at my videos, and I'm not trying to make any money off of this. TikTok will pay you if you get a big enough view. So will YouTube for that matter, but I just want to get the word out. This is my ministry. This is what I do. And I mix my feelings about politics and the Lord together, because you can't separate the two, no matter what anybody tells you. Christians may tell you, oh, you can't mix politics and religion. Well, first of all, Jesus is not a religion. He's a person, and I follow him. Not a religion. It's a relationship. So don't let people try to change your mind about politics and religion, because they go hand in hand. God's a government God. He is totally involved in government. Okay? He is totally involved in every facet of your life, if you allow him to. But if you don't, then, of course, just like most of the world, they've shunned him, pushed him away. They don't want him in our schools. They don't want him in government. They don't want you talking about him. They don't want him on the air. They don't want me talking about him. Period. It's just the way it is. So listen to Matt. He is a wealth of knowledge. I only showed you a portion in 2 parts of what he's talking about. Let me tell you, we need to be praying for Donald Trump. There are 5 known assassination groups in this country right now, as recorded by Congressman Gantz, as he was told by the Department of Homeland Security. 3 of them are from foreign governments. I think one of them, in particular government, is the Iranian government. And 2 are domestic assassination group. So let's be realistic about this, folks. We're living in dark, dark times. You know, everything Harris is telling you is an absolute lie. Everything she says, oh, I'm for fracking. No, she's not. Oh, I'm for this. No, she's not. The only thing she's doing is telling people what they want to hear, but her record shows what she really feels about it. She just want fracking. They've had 3.5 years to start fracking. They stopped fracking the day they got in office. That's why our prices of fuel went up. That's why everything else went up. It costs more to bring it to you. The truckers have to pay more. The people making products have to pay more. Everybody has to pay more. And we were energy independent under Donald Trump. And then COVID comes along. Why? It gives them an opportunity. Democrats say never let a crisis go without taking advantage of that opportunity. Hillary Clinton lives by that because Saul Alinsky taught her that. And it's also a practice of Marxism, Karl Marx's book. What we be concerned about is praying for this country, praying for Israel, praying for Donald Trump. They're out to stop him no matter what they have to do, and we can't allow it. We have to expose it. We need to take what I'm telling you and these videos that I'm putting on, and you need to share them with every person that you know. And the reason people don't share them is because they're too lazy to share them. Oh, I don't want to get involved. People will think things badly about me. Who cares? If you're still worried about what people think about you, you're part of the problem. I don't care what people think about me. My actions speak for themselves. So I don't care what anybody else thinks. I don't care what anybody thinks about what I do. So, without getting more angry, because I could stay angry if I wanted to. I could stay angry all day. All I gotta do is turn the news on. I don't watch the news. But I get angry when I get involved in things and I see the comments of people who are just blatantly blind to the truth and blatantly lie about what's happening. That makes me angry, because we're sitting on our blessed assurance doing nothing while the evil in the world is having a field day. You think it's all a joke? Well, it's not. Okay? It's real life. It's reality. And it's about to hit you in the face if you don't get up off your blessed assurance and get involved. So I'm going to leave you there. Watch the videos. Share the videos. I don't care how many people you got on your friend list. I see people under got 1,000 friends. You certainly don't know 1,000 people that you can call friend. Okay, they just on there. The more friends I got, the better people think I really got all these friends. You know, I don't want fake friends on my Facebook. I don't care about all that. I'm really picky about who I put on there. I've got relatives I won't even put on there. Are you kidding me? Okay, look. I mean, why should I share things with relatives who don't believe there's just even a God? I don't do that. I used to, but then I get accused of telling people they're going to hell. Never told anybody they're going to hell. That's not for me to decide. That's for God to decide. But I do know this. Their chances of getting there, if they don't accept Jesus Christ, are probably pretty close to 100%, if not 110%. Okay? I'm just saying that. And if that doesn't scare somebody to wanting to become a believer of Jesus Christ, then I thought, well, I needed fire and brimstone to bring me to Christ. Some people don't. They just need the love of God. I needed fire and brimstone. And I'm glad that Dwight Thompson was one of those kind of guys, one of those evangelists out there doing that I saw him one evening in a church, not even wanting to be there, but went for a friend of mine who asked me to go, so I went with him. I said, I don't even believe in this stuff, but I'll go with you. And here I am, 35 years later. So, hey, listen, it's all real. Pay attention to Matt. Share the videos, okay? God bless y'all.
So now we're going to dive into the latest on Trump's assassination. Now, you're going to want to stay connected with us because this is for every intercessor, every person who cares about the future of America as well as the world, because as America goes, so goes the world. Did you know that 70% of all wars, according to some researchers, have started during the Fall Feast of Israel? What's the significance of that? And is there a prediction that we can pull from the Fall Feast of Israel? I'm going to be sharing a prediction with you this morning about what's coming in October that you do not want to miss. Plus, is Bill Gates creating a system that the Antichrist is going to use in order to put his agenda forward? There's some kind of strange phenomena happening above the pyramids of Giza, and will AI be used and utilized in such a way that it will create a class of useless human beings? According to some world leaders, it is. We're going to talk about all of that and more today. But first, let's jump into the latest on the Trump assassination attempt. First, we now have our very first audio of Trump talking about the assassination attempt that took place in Florida. Evan, if we could pull up that audio, let's hear what he has to say.
All of a sudden, we heard shots being fired in the air, and I guess probably 4 or 5. And it sounded like bullets, but what do I know about that? But Secret Service knew immediately it was bullets. And they grabbed me, and I think probably the other one, Steve is one of the people, Steve Witkoff, a great friend of mine, a great businessman from mostly New York and Florida, great businessman. And more importantly, just a fantastic person. So we're in the group, and everybody we got into the carts and we moved along pretty good. I was with an agent, and the agent did a fantastic job. There was no question that we were off that course. I would have loved to have sank that last putt, but we decided, well, let's get out of here. And what the gunfire was actually, interestingly, was a Secret Service agent had seen a barrel of a AK-47, which
behind bulletproof plates, by the way. Behind bulletproof plating. I didn't mean to cut that off, but I've just every once in a while, just so you guys know, I have to interject just for copyright reasons, that kind of thing. What do you guys think about what's happening? Because there's some strange rumors, and we want to make sure that we're very careful about how we discuss this moving forward. There's some strange rumors going around about this gentleman's connection, not only with the CIA, but also with BlackRock, which, if you remember, the first would-be assassin was also in a commercial created by BlackRock. What are the odds of this? I'm wondering, you guys are some of the best investigators in the world. You're watching this right now. In the comments, let us know a little bit about what you've heard and what are some of the rumors that are circulating about this individual who has unusual, according to solid sources, unusual connections to Ukraine, a fierce advocate of the war against Russia, of the use of nuclear weapons. He's got quite a record. All of this is being uncovered right now, so I don't want to get into too much information because a lot of it is speculation, but it seems he has a very strange history with Ukraine. And we know that 7 years ago, the Ukrainian government attempted to interfere in the democratic debacle that took place, stopping Trump from being elected. Is there any connection at all? Someone is saying MK Ultra. I put that on X as well. If you're not familiar with MK Ultra, and some of the other information. What is BlackRock? You just need to Google that. Google that. BlackRock, MK Ultra, put them all in there. What are the odds that he knew that DJT would be on the golf course and camped out for 12 hours? Yeah, exactly, Brandon. How did he know Donald Trump was going to be there, and how was he able to be there for 12 hours? And he's kind of relatively speaking, to a lot of violent offenders, a high-profile individual. He's done many interviews. He's traveled internationally. He has felony convictions, from what I understand, if I'm not mistaken. Coffee. I love this. Bonnie says, kind of off topic, but it's good anyway. Christ offers forgiveness for everyone, everywhere. Coffee. Somebody write that down and remember that so we can use that forever. Yeah. And the only way to really walk through these news stories is to be awake with some Holy Ghost coffee. But some very strange connections. And here's the other question. Now, conservatives need to be very cautious about this, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. Should liberals, the far left, and the media be held accountable for these multiple attempts on the president's life? Here's just a preview of some of the things that have been said in recent months concerning Donald Trump from key leaders. Let's take a look at this. This is on Encounter News on X.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. So even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out.
Just for just a second. So the left is hypersensitive about language, right? Hypersensitive about language. And anytime anything happens that in any way negatively affects, I mean, you look at what happened in 2020. I'm choosing my words wisely. They completely blame conservatives. They blame the president for their violent rhetoric. Do you think this rises to that level? Let's keep looking at a few more of these while we're going through it.
And put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet and arrest
Maxine Waters, and maybe skip a little bit through. I want to get to the very end. Donald Trump has just released an ad, as a matter of fact, kind of addressing this. Even go a little bit further. It's hard to watch Nancy Pelosi's decline. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that because it's obvious that they have contributed to the decline of the conversation. If you call someone Hitler, if you say that there are an existential threat to this nation and to democracy, if your supporters, and we all know the left has, both sides have mentally ill, emotionally imbalanced people. Certainly that's on both sides, but the left has the lion's share of that because they cater to that. They cater to the, those whose elevator doesn't go all the way to the top, and they treat them as if they're normal. That's all we need to say about that. So they have a lot of mentally unstable people who believe it when you say that Donald Trump is an existential threat to fill in the blank, or that he is literally Hitler. It's just, they're going to believe you. So should we go after them and say they are responsible for what these two assassination attempts? We're looking at history being made here. Has any president, at least in modern history, been maligned as this one and as attacked as this one? Here's where conservatives need to be cautious. We need to be cautious about connecting the actions of mentally deranged people with the words of political opponents. We just need to be cautious about that because we are the individuals who actually believe in free speech. Right now, Hillary Clinton just came out advocating this. Kamala Harris has just advocated this, that there should be censorship against this type of language. Maybe not this type of language. They want it, anything that's against their side. We want to make sure we're on the side of free speech. But we also want to advocate responsible speech. And we need, before we ask the question, before we lay an accusation, you need to ask, have I participated in calling someone an existential threat, in some way contributing to the devolution of the political conversation in the modern era? There has to be a little bit of self-introspection and evaluation before we dive too much into that. And all this happened, by the way, after my Sunday message, and I may have gotten myself in a little bit of trouble, and I'll tell you why in a minute, and I'll properly explain because I said what I said, and I'm going to stand by what I said. We are entering into a very fractious, dark season in regard to spiritual warfare right now. As we head into the fall, as I said earlier, 20%, by the way, if there's someone who has a question or a comment that's important, you can just throw it up there and dive right in. And if you have a question that's important, by the way, make sure you put 4 question marks so it's easy for them to see in the comment section of the website. So Trump, in his campaign, by the way, you could check out his campaign has just released a document listing all of the threats or the rhetoric that has been used against them from key political opponents. From Kamala Harris, Trump is a threat to our democracy and, it goes on, a fundamental threat to our freedoms. It's on us to recognize the threat Trump poses. Joe Biden says it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. All things, I remember when, I think it was Sarah Palin it may have been Sarah Palin, may have been someone else, who had bullseyes on a map, and she was attacked for inciting violence. Are they holding themselves to the same standard? What do you think? And here's what you need to know. We'll kind of get into the prediction part of what I believe is coming in the fall of this year now. And then later we'll talk about AI creating a race of useless humans, Bill Gates preparing the world for the Antichrist, a strange phenomenon over the pyramids. We're going to do a private Zoom on Friday, by the way, for all of our premium members, those who are, I think it's the first month is $1 when you become a premium member, but it's just to kind of filter out the riffraff so we can have uncensored conversations. For our partners and our friends who are part of our premium community on Encounter Today, we're going to do a live Zoom where I can see you, you can see me, we can talk back and forth, because I have some things that I want to share with you that are very important about what's coming in the coming years. So make sure you become a premium member over there on encountertoday.com. So let's get back to the stat that 70% of all wars have been started during the fall feast of Israel. When you get into the fall feast, there's a difference between the spring feast and the fall feast. The spring feasts are about deliverance. The fall feasts of God are about responsibility. The spring feasts are about freedom. The fall feasts are about judgment. The spring feast, we celebrate what he has done. In the fall feast, we prepare for what he's about to do. Spring feasts are about praising. Fall feasts are about preparing. Now, these feasts are some of the most prophetic indicators of what God desires to do at any given time, at any given season. Now, let me help you with this. When we're talking about the feast of God, I'm not talking about pulling you into legalism. I'm not talking about pulling you back into the law. We're talking about something. You need to go watch the message that I preached. It's on Encounter Today last Sunday morning. I think it deals with predictions for October, I think is the title of it, or I predict in October is the title of it. And I kind of break down and I walk through and I teach on how the feasts connect prophetically with what God desires to do. When we get to the fall feast, if you can throw that slide up again, when we get to the fall feast, something shifts. There is a warfare over it because Satan can't do anything about what God has already done. In fact, go ahead and pull up all the 7 feasts of God that we have there, just to give you an example. We'll run through this very quickly. The Passover, of course, was a rehearsal. All of the fall feasts of God, all of the feasts of God are rehearsals to prepare his people for what he desires to do in their lives. Passover, you know, the killing of the Paschal lamb and the shedding of its blood, and that blood being placed on the doorpost and the lintel of the children of Israel so that it would protect them from the death angel, was a rehearsal and preparation for the crucifixion of the lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world. The Feast of Unleavened Bread spoke of the burial of Jesus. The Feast of First Fruits, the resurrection of Jesus. Pentecost, the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. So all of these things were meant to prepare them. And every time around that time of year, they were to remember what God had done, what he had promised, and prepare for what he desires to do. So Satan can't do anything about those things anymore. Jesus died for your sins already. He's crucified. He
had a senior official from the Department of Homeland Security in my office before the second assassination attempt saying that what he has assessed is that there are 5 known assassination teams in the United States, 3 inspired by other governments, 2 that are here that are known domestic assassination teams. And with that, this individual was coming to me concerned that the force protection around President Trump, even prior to that second assassination attempt, was not sufficient for what it needed to be.